My cheating wife is mad that I told the girlfriend of her affair partner all the truth. Some background information is given in the following section. 3 weeks ago, I was able to get my wife to admit to having an emotional affair with another man she knew about. Despite repeated requests, she refused to end the relationship, which is still continuing on today. I'd been doing the Choose Me dance for about 2 weeks when I decided to do a full 180, which involved telling AP girlfriend about the affair, among other things. As a result, my wife was upset with me about it. Then she went on to add that she was worried AP would knock me up over it. My wife and AP have simply stopped chatting in order to maintain their good reputations. With his girlfriend, they have unfollowed each other on social media accounts, but I have strong evidence that the affair is still going on, as well as substantial evidence that the affair has tragically escalated into a physical relationship. The following describes my current situation. When I first realized that a .p. was involved, it took me a long time to realize that there could be no reconciliation. All that is left now is for me to serve the papers, which I will do as soon as I can. During this week, I want to make every effort to meet with a lawyer and to get the papers served in the shortest amount of time feasible. So should I tell a.p's business partner once more? Alternatively, should I seek legal advice? The fact that I've reached this position in my marriage is beyond comprehension to me. This is something that would have never occurred to me a month ago. Our marriage had been perfect up until this point. We never left each other's sides, we had lovely sex, we went on dates every weekend, and we always had one other's backs no matter what. I've done all in my ability to ensure that she has a pleasant life ahead of her. A guy my wife met at the gym and fell in love with after just 2 months of knowing him began an emotional affair with him. In addition, I'd like to point out that this individual has 3 separate gym memberships with distinct clubs. After being confronted about it, she refused to discontinue her relationship with him. She claims to be head over heels in love with him, and the two have exchanged nudes and passionate messages. It comes as a surprise to me when she says she hasn't loved me in a long time and that AP makes me feel like a woman. But the love was genuine until this person showed. She's entirely transformed since meeting this guy. She's cold, bitter, and utterly uninterested in me. Eventually, after 2 weeks of practicing the Choose Me dance, I confessed my feelings for her and concluded, it's either him or me. I'm not sure what I want right now, she said. I hurried out of the home, notified my parents and in-laws about her, and contacted a.p's girlfriend to notify her of my actions. She became agitated and yelled at me, "You're a wimp for alerting our families." When she discovered that I had informed APGF, she lost her mind and began shouting, shoving, and throwing things at me. Afterwards, she informed me that we're done and that there's no chance. The relationship is still alive and well. It was necessary for wife and AP to pretend they were no longer seeing one another in order to get AP girlfriend off his back. If WW and AP are so in love, why isn't he willing to leave his girlfriend? Since then, I've made a full 180-degree turn. I've also discovered communications between WW and AP in which they discuss what they want their kid to look like, going on public dates, and whether or not the affair is becoming physical. I came to the conclusion that it was time to call it quits and file for divorce. In around 10 days, she will be caught off guard by documents. She'd never expect me to do anything like this, which is a good thing since she'd be disappointed. I need to demonstrate to her that I'm serious about this and that I'm not simply a fallback option. When she's sentenced, I plan to go nuclear on her, informing our families of everything she's been up to with AP, providing proof of a continuing affair and physicality of the affair to a.p's GF, terminating her gym membership, separating my money from our joint account, and forcibly removing her from the house. I'm terrified of her being served and doing all of these things, but I know it's necessary if I'm going to have the fog lifted from my head. However, I'm prepared for the worst-case scenario in case an atomic bomb is dropped on my marriage. For a divorce to be finalized in my state, couples must be apart for a period of 6 months before filing. Assuming she does not return for me within that time limit and makes the necessary revisions, I realize there is nothing I can do. If that's the case, it'll be difficult, but I'll be okay and will become stronger as a consequence of the experience. Update. When I wrote this piece about a month and a half ago, I thought I was done with the Choose Me dance, but looking back, I was certainly not. I imagined that having her served would finally wake her up, but that was not the case. She felt relieved by the divorce. As I said in my previous article, in my state, after the first filing, the couple must be separated for 6 months before the processes may commence. To avoid ruffling any feathers, I opted not to go entirely nuclear. Let me tell you, listen to those on this sub who encourage you to divorce while WS is in a fair fog because you'll get a better bargain. She gave me our home, our dog, and pretty much everything else I desired. She also consented to sign a court order barring her from suing me for spousal support. She relocated today. It was certainly the most bittersweet experience I've ever had. On the one hand, living with her for the last 2 months had been extremely horrible. On the other hand, it seems like a significant chapter in my life is coming to an end. I sobbed very hard as she walked out, but I know it's all for the best. She and AP are still chatting and flirting, and he still has his GF. Wife is as innocent as hell and is still neck deep in fog. I'm still astounded at how adultery alters a person's whole demeanor. My wife and I had been married for 10 years, and she was unquestionably my closest friend. We had a lot of ideas for the future. She could hardly stand me once AP entered the picture. She despised me and couldn't handle being around me for the last 2 months of our relationship, and I was much more cordial than I should have been. You'd think I was the cheater, haha. I'm coming to grips with the possibility that she was a concealed narcissist. When I published my first blog entry, I was a jumbled mix of emotions. I was unable to eat or sleep, and I spent the most of my time lying in bed feeling miserable. The progress I've made in the last month and a half has been incredible. I'm feeling much better now. I still regret what might have been and what could have been, but it no longer fills the majority of my thoughts. IC has been quite beneficial. Besides going to the gym and soliciting assistance from family and friends, I've been reviving my previous activities. I've also planned a few of new hobbies that I'm really looking forward to trying out. In light of the fact that she cannot legally sue me for spousal support, I came to the conclusion that finding new and better paying employment would be a nice change of pace for me. I've scheduled a pair of interviews, both of which seem to be extremely promising. Thank you as well to everyone who writes in this sub. Your stories and advice have been crucial in my recovery process. After realizing how close I'd been to experiencing the worst of what would turn out to be one of the most awful experiences of my life, I was overcome with a strange sense of confidence and fearlessness that I'd never experienced before. This period of separation will serve as a new beginning for me. In my life, I have the ability to direct events in whichever manner I see appropriate. I've never felt more in control of my life than I do right now. I'm not sure what the next 6 months will have in store for me, but I'm certain that I'll continue to develop into the best version of myself throughout them. Any BS out there who are struggling, no matter how much they gaslight, blame shift, or rewrite history. I was subjected to all of this till she moved out. Remember that cheating is not your fault, and you are sufficient in your own right. Your WS may have sought to address any relationship difficulties with you, or he or she may have just ended the relationship as an adult. They chose the choice that was the most insensitive, immature, and cowardly. WS are weak individuals who have significant flaws in their character. The good news is that you can come out of this alive, and that you can heal in a very short amount of time. This may be some of the most broad advice on this sub, but remember to take things one day at a time and to focus only on your own needs. Putting in the effort to focus only on oneself is an example. It is fully and completely effective.